Nico Dragomovits. I always say his name.
Dragon Man.
Dragomanovits.
And then on the left, you have Dylan Buff with blue-black control.
For those of you who are just joining us.
Ooh, and looks like we have a mulligan to 6 or 5, was it? It looks like Dylan only has 5 cards in hand after playing a land, so...
And the deck, I would say it's worth not calling this a control deck.
So
yeah.
It looks like it looks like Dylan. Oh, he must have actually played first. Never mind. So yeah, Nico played. Looks like Dylan mulliganed once, and then Nico played turn 1 Delver and then paid life for his Gitaxian Probe. Gitaxian Probe is a card that is absolutely awesome. We've seen it a lot in Delver decks nowadays. It's gotten a lot more action than it previously had, due to its interaction with Delver. Obviously, it's a card that is a pseudo card in your deck that also gives you information.
Dangerous turn here.
Stalker comes down.
Stalker and Delver. If Dylan draws a Black Sun Zenith, it's devastating.
Yep.
He has 2 draws for it: the regular draw and the Think Twice draw.
Nico had seen his. Oh, and there it is.
BSZGG.
Yeah.
Now,
So,
Nico needs to do something to come back from that. That's a rough turn for him. I don't think he has any creatures in his hand. He's got a Ponder in his hand, so...
He's going to have to dig. So yeah, that was pretty brutal.
That was...
Nico had seen his hand, a turn before. So there were 3 cards. There was his Dylan's draw step for second turn, and then Think Twice, then draw for that turn that he got to find a Black Sun Zenith.
Yeah, 3 draws.
Nico was in reasonable shape to hope that would his
Not
creatures would survive that turn, but sometimes you just find it. And
then and to be fair as well, here's going to see a Ponder, I'm sure. I think he has 2 Vapor Snags in hand.
Yeah, those are not particularly good in this matchup.
Yeah, those are weak counter spells where you save your man. Most black-blue control decks run very, very few Black Sun Zenith, but things have changed. The world has become more aggressive, so a lot of Black Suns is a reasonable thing to see. We see a shuffle on the Ponder here from Nico.
That does not bode well, as his hand had no pressure in it.
That's it. I've known Nico for a long time, and I always struggle to say his last name. Nico Dragomanovits.
I think I would just say Dragon Man.
Well, you would say Dragon Man. you specifically.
Especially if he were a Marvel comic character. Then he would be on Doctor Doom's team.
And we see a Snapcaster Mage, I believe.
Okay, so...
Now, one of the things that this deck can do...
A sword.
That's a Sword of War and Peace there.
So I imagine we're probably going to see this Snapcaster come down and try and rebuy a probe.
I actually think he's going to play Draw Go. You can outdraw Go blue decks because you have more counters than them.
Okay. And you will receive 8 packs of Innistrad to build 2 sealed decks between you. Check in at side events over on the left.
So, I mean, what's your plan here? Like, what are you trying to do?
Essentially, you want to get... There's a Stalker. You want to get something like a Stalker on the table. He's probably going to cast this Stalker and say go. I predict a Mana Leak is going to come from Dylan, and that Mana Leak will probably resolve.
So your
plan is basically this: you counter some stuff, and then a little bit later you will lay a Delver and probably still have some counter magic up, and then turn the Delver into your threat later. That is a strange counterback, given that Dylan has 3 mana available.
Well, and also at 5 mana.
That didn't do anything.
Yeah, I don't
that did not do anything. Now, Nico. I'm not gonna make any complaint. This is not his format is not.
It's actually a relatively dangerous counter. Even if it did do something.
There you go. Upkeep, snag it. But throwing that counter out there was just a waste of a counter.
Yeah. I mean, but even if it had allowed the Invisible Stalker to resolve, it's I guess with the Vapor Snag in his hand, he's relatively safe from Consecrated Sphinx. But
another Vapor Snag in hand too. Sword of War and Peace comes down. Now we're probably going to see the Sphinx again.
Snag again.
Do you drop the Sphinx here? I do.
Yeah, for sure.
7 mana. He could lay a Karn if he has it. There's a Karn there. Nope, just the Sphinx.
I would play Karn if I had Karn.
Just, in quotes, the Sphinx.
So upkeep snag. When you're an aggressive deck and you're playing snags to keep something off the board,
it's bad times,
and not attacking at the same time, you are in some serious trouble.
There's
Doctor.
a stalker. There's a stalker, and he's got another snag in hand.
Okay, well maybe.
Okay.
Maybe this is gonna do it. This sword stalker.
Oh,
Zenith.
boo!
So are we gonna see this snag?
I don't know. What do you do with that?
You know your opponent has a Sphinx. Your opponent can't cast Sphinx.
I think you
this
don't.
turn.
I think you. No, maybe you save it, but then don't recast the stalker, so that you can go snappy and then mana leak.
Well, I mean, your opponent's just not going to cast it into that mana.
That's fair. That's fair.
Your opponent also has a Drown Yard.
Oh, there's going to be a counter spell on that vapor snag.
All right.
I guess I don't lose any life from it then. And Black Sun Zenith shuffled back in. This is not the early days of the Zeniths being printed where they would sometimes find themselves in the yard because people didn't notice. Nico's in really bad shape here.
Yeah, this is definitely a tough spot. That Black Sun Zenith that wiped his board on turn 3 was pretty crushing, and he's yet to really get back from it.
Okay. So he says go. He's got a Snapcaster and a Mana Leak in hand, and he's in some real trouble here. His opponent says go. Do you just drop the Snapcaster? I think at this point you do, and just...
Yeah, I mean...
What else are you gonna do?
I don't know what your plan is. Like, if you play Snapcaster here, I mean, I guess you can play Snapcaster, you kind of just hope it resolves. You could also, wait to at least not be able to have it countered by...
By Mana Leak?
But, I mean, if your opponent's mana leaking your Snapcaster at this point, like...
Nico draws Strizel Island, I think. Yep, there it is. So these two other art islands, you'll notice that there's Lightning Bolt Islands.
Okay.
Those are the original islands on the list, but it was not quite enough. And those were the two that were added to bring this to an 18-island deck.
Okay.
Forbidden Alchemy from Dylan Buff, really pushing the game under his control.
Players seem to be questioning something.
I think it was just a pause. Do I want to do something right now? Nope.
This alchemy. Well, there's no mana tap. I think he's resolving the alchemy. Or
I think it's just a graveyard that's laid out, so you can see it. Okay, Nico gives a thumbs up for something and draws.
Perilous Mirror.
This time's
That's what he needed.
Yes. Times one Perilous Mirror in this deck as a pre-sideboard against white and red. It's not a great card. There's a Doomblade in
that might resolve.
In Dylan's hand.
And Dylan still has that Consecrated Sphinx. And he has that Alchemy in his yard and a Drown Yard active.
I don't really know that the Drown Yard is anything more than a potential card advantage engine for Dylan, but the rest of it...
I mean, even just as a potential card advantage engine, he's in
a great position.
Yeah,
he's in a great position.
Yeah, flashing back.
Yep, let it resolve, Nico. Let it resolve. There you go. I do have a dog in this fight. I think that was a Mana Leak that he took there.
It looks like it. Yep, taking Mana Leak.
But putting the rest out. His graveyard growing into epic proportions. Nico untaps, draws a Psychic Barrier.
Ooh, that's a way to
Nico
stop.
equips and is going to get Doombladed. And that's going to do 2 damage to Dylan.
Boom!
And I think he's going to say go. That Psychic Barrier is great and all, but it's not going to get through to stop a Mana Leak on the turn back, if there were to be a fight that would start.
Yeah, I'm guessing we're going to see Sphinx come back down this turn.
He says
he
go?
Just saying go?
He said go.
Really?
And Nico draws a 6th land. It's Mana Leak, I think, Snapcaster, and Psychic Barrier. Drown who?
Drown you, it looked like.
I don't know that actually does anything at this point.
Blub,
it's
blub,
so far away from
blub, blub, blub. I mean, if they're just sitting here, Drown Yard wins. Like,
but they're not going to just sit there forever.
Right. I do think that I would drown myself a few more times.
I would drown myself
to generate some more resources.
Yeah, just maybe.
Though, I mean, we can't really see Dylan's hand here.
He goes Snapcaster EOT. SCM EOTYL.
I actually saw someone with the FOF, EOT
Right.
FOF YL shirts at Worlds, and I was like, wow, you've been playing for a while. For those who aren't old school players, that's end of turn fact to fiction, you lose.
Which I always thought was a lie.
It was.
Snapcaster targets Vapor Snag just as a,
No snags.
and then does not do anything. And Nico tries to equip. There's a Doomblade.
And down again.
I think you just say, that's fine.
Yep.
Don't throw away a Mana Leak this time, Nico.
So yeah, I mean that sword is making any creature that Nico plays a potential serious threat.
And there's going to be a Mana Leak, I think, from Dylan.
I don't. If I were Nico, I think I would have played that
wait.
first. Well, I would have played that first for sure. You don't want to allow him to counter that with a Mana Leak.
Oh, snappy. And that's going to draw probably... Maybe he just lets it resolve. Don't fight this fight, Nico. You know he's got a Consecrated Sphinx, and you know...
I mean, Invisible Stalker plus... all right.
I don't think you fight the fight. The Consecrated Sphinx is just too big.
Mana Leak's back.
Oh, wow. And then
Mana Leak.
now Nico is, I think, doomed.
Much like a Traveler.
Yes. Tapped out. Opponent can drop down Consecrated Sphinx.
And
no creatures in
we're out
play.
of
Nico's
Vapor
tied.
Snags.
And Nico is looking at the sideboard.
So Sphinx will likely come down this turn, though I've said that for several turns now.
I think there were 2 turns where Dylan should have cast the Sphinx.
I certainly... Oh, yeah, here
There we
comes
go.
Sphinx at last. I guess he hasn't had the mana to pay for Mana Leak. I thought he did.
Untap from Nico. Nico draws and says, hey, draw, man. And he has what? A land and a Psychic Barrier, so that's it. That is the game of Magique.
So, Dylan with a fistful of cards.
Comes on in for 6, knocking Nico down to 10.
I would say this game is slipping away from Nico.
Oh, I would say
I
this
feel
game
like
is
I feel like it long
slipped.
since slipped from him.
Long slipped. From the sideboard, what do you think is going to come in from Dylan?
Dylan, I definitely think Black Sun Zenith,
Death's
most
Hold.
likely Tribute to Hunger and Curse of Death's Hold. Maybe some Ring Flushes, though there aren't that many things that make creatures that die to Ring Flush. I imagine you would probably take out... I think that's a much more interesting question is what comes out.
Let's see. Maybe slow
Some number of Think Twice, some number of Forbidden Alchemy, some number of counter magic.
I think that's all fair. Do you consider taking out Consecrated Sphinx against a deck with... He's seen, I believe, Psychic Barrier and Mana Leak and Vapor Snare or Snag?
I think it's reasonable.
I mean, obviously the Sphinx is going to lock this game into he's won.
Yeah.
But I mean, you have to get to that point first.
It's true. I mean, I definitely think that in this kind of matchup, you want to focus your deck on things that are keeping you alive rather than things that are winning you the game. But at the same time, you still need cards that do win you the game. And I think that Sphinx is a card that definitely does that. And I would imagine that Nico would probably not have his Vapor Snags in his deck after sideboarding.
I would think that it would
So
go down
that makes-
a very small number
That
or
makes
none.
Sphinx, much more powerful.
And he discards because he has so many cards. Nico draws a land
And they're going
and
to game
scoops
2.
it up. Nico is going to bring in, if he remembers what I told him, 2 turn aside, 1 negate, and 2 swords.
Turn Aside is sweet. Turn Aside's a card that I have kept thinking I wanted in my sideboard in a bunch of different decks, but have never actually sort of gotten up the gall to play. But
It's really good. I used to have Mental Misstep in the board. A lot of people suggested it, tried it out. The problem with Mental Misstep is that it misses too many things. And then when you're playing in certain matchups, you actually can't draw it at the wrong time, or it's just terrible.
right. Yeah, drawing a Mental Misstep on turn 2 after someone's played their 1-drop is often just absolutely miserable. You really need it to be a card that you're sideboarding against decks that have 1-drops that continue to be good throughout the game. Like, for instance, I like Mental Misstep against Tempered Steel when I'm playing a deck that has creatures that it wants to play that it needs to protect from Dispatch.
Yes.
Because when you're using your Mental Misstep not only to potentially counter their early plays, but also to protect, to be able to tap out and protect stuff. It's basically force of will to protect your things. I like it a lot there.
Yes.
But I don't know that there are enough decks that you're facing that sort of thing with.
I mean, if you look at the mana curve of a lot of the decks, for a lot of the decks, if you're going to play Mental Misstep, it actually makes more sense to play Gut Shot.
Yeah,
It does
absolutely.
it does so much of the same work, and also is better against not ones and better on turn 6.
Absolutely.
Nico's thinking. It's a thing that you don't often see if you know him.
Wow. Jeez.
No, I love Nico, but it's fun to give Nico a hard time. He's a really good guy, actually. Dylan, his name is very familiar. I'm gonna just do a quick check and see what if we've seen him before.
We'll find out. The wonders of the internet.
The internet is actually really awesome, unless your
If
internet
you
is
haven't-
really
if you haven't
slow.
explored the internet before, which is impossible because you're on it right now listening to us talk, it's pretty cool.
Maybe they're not. Maybe their friend is on the internet and they're just there.
Oh, interesting. It was actually the other day we were like, how do LED lights work? We're like, oh, let's find out. And even like 15, 20 years ago, it'd be like, how do LED lights work? I guess it's magic. I have no idea, and there's no way to really find out. You have to like know someone who works at a company that makes LED lights or something. But now you just ask the internet. It's remarkable. Adrian is currently crawling under the table. I don't really know what's going on. Kind of
There
confused.
we go. I've plugged in my internet machine.
Aha! Now you have the power.
I do. I was like,
Perhaps of Grayskull, perhaps not.
how come I have no power? Oh.
On my flight here, I plugged in my laptop to try and write an article, and the plug just like was a lie. It just did not power my laptop at all.
And a quick search on the Star City Games deck database, a thing I highly recommend. I don't show any recent finishes from Dylan, but if we open up, maybe we'll see something from a little bit ago.
So yeah, I definitely still think that that my choice of the blue-black deck was spot on.
I would be happy to sit against you
All right,
and
all right.
play these decks. Yeah, I'm not sure if Dylan's a local player or anything about him, but his deck is really interesting because it's definitely taken this archetype, the black-blue archetype, that we saw at the very beginning, I think, of the Innistrad Standard season, and modified it for the creature-heavy metagame. And we saw the effect of that on turn 3 when he Black Sun Zenith for 1. Yeah. So many of these decks run 1 or no Black Sun Zenith, and it was so critical to him taking control.
I mean, I think we definitely, as we've been talking about, see the response of the standard format shifting away from the very control-heavy, very sort of ramp deck-heavy field that we saw at the beginning of the format, and now there's a lot of aggro decks out there. There's there's mono red, there's green-white tokens, there's blue-white, there's illusions, there's tempered steel. There's so many decks that you really want a card like Black Sun Zenith against. But I think that a build like this is definitely much closer to where I would want to be if I was playing blue-black.
We see the shuffle, shuffle, shuffle action here.
These players are definitely thoroughly randomizing their decks.
And talking about it, Oh, look at that. Is that an angry face? I don't know. I couldn't tell. For those of you who are just joining us, welcome to St. Louis. It's the Star City Games Live Open Series. Day 1 is standard. This is round 4. I'm Adrian Sullivan, joined by Brian Kibler. On your left, you see Dylan Buff up 1-0 with a blue-black control deck versus Nico Dragomanovits playing Mono Blue Delver, a update to the Curious George deck from Grand Prix Austin 2001? 2000?
I still don't know if you could really say it's an update to a deck from 10 years ago.
I think you can.
I mean, I suppose you can...
If it plays out the same way?
It borrows elements from it, but...
I think that's a fair thing to call an update.
All right, fair.
Fundamentally doing the same job.
I mean, like Dylan Buff playing an updated version of Brian Weissman's The Deck.
This is not the same thing.
I mean, I'm obviously joking.
Where is the disrupting scepter?
It's
Where is Sarah
Liliana, Consecrated Sphinx, plays the dual role of Sarah Angel and Brain Geyser. So
where's Amnesia?
Liliana and Karn. Karn and Liliana are both disrupting scepters.
And Nico makes a play, I think.
He did something, I think.
I think he's mulliganing. It looks like a mulligan.
Like that looks like a mulligan face. His opponent sort of bopping up and down. Looks like, all right, my opponent's mulliganing. Yeah.
I do like it when my opponent mulligans, even if I, don't do a dance in front of them. I'm secretly pumping the fist.
Yeah, I mean, as Chris Bakula once said, anyone who doesn't pump the fist with their opponent's mulligans is lying. It's like, you're like, oh man, rough beat. Yes!
Nico looks unhappy with this hand.
Yeah, I would always prefer to play a good game of Magic, but I would also always prefer to play a game of Magic that I win. Not always. Not always, but
If it's on the level, I want to win.
Yeah.
You know, like, he's thinking about it. Not happy about it.
if you always won every game of Magic you played, would you still play Magic?
No.
Yeah, neither do I.
That would be... That's one of the reasons...
looks like Nico's going to
I think we're going to go
cards.
to 5 cards, perhaps. That's one of the reasons why, when I first met Godenis Vidaguris, one of the things that a lot of people don't know about him is that he is a chess master, like, you know, the official title, chess master.
Okay.
And he found out that I played chess, and he was like, oh, you want to play? And I said to him something like, you're a chess master, right? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, then no, because neither of us will have fun.
Yeah, I remember Ben Rubin used to play Mike Postilnik quite a bit.
Mikey P.
Yeah, Mikey P. He was at a recent event.
Oh, I love Mikey P.
Mikey P is...
Best rats ever.
Yeah, wow, Mikey P is awesome.
Okay, we got 5 cards here for Nico. He looks unhappy with these 5 as well.
Jeez.
He says keep. You good? Oh, yeah, he's good.
All right.
Turn 1, Delver. Oh, Ponder. What do we see? I see a Delver, a Negate,
And a Probe.
Probe. Sorry, and is it a Stalker, a Negate, and a Probe?
I think that was a Delver.
A Delver? Okay.
I believe that was
Keeps
Delver.
the Delver on top, it looked like. Says go. No other land. Okay, so we're going to see a Probe for 2 life.
Yep.
Interesting.
He's keeping the Probe because he wants to
the
actually
instant.
hit the spell.
And
So-
what do we got? Hey! We got an insect.
Jeff Goldblum in the house,
That's right. A Brundlefly.
and Doomblade takes it out.
Vapor Snag?
I might snag there.
Might snag.
Flips it over. Well, it should be an insectile abomination right now, but yeah. Okay, so he does snag it back to his hand,
And he draws.
and now he should probe and hope to draw land and
Yep.
play it again.
There you go. Probe, what do we got?
We're down to 17 life.
Leak. Is that Black Sun Zenith?
Leak, Zenith, Karn land.
Okay. You can't make him discard it.
I'll take that one.
Take that one.
Oh, wait, it doesn't work this way. That would be a really good card.
Pay 2 life.
It's like, remember Unmask?
Yes.
Unmask was really good, and it cost you another card, and didn't draw a card, and didn't cost you life, but it looks like no more land for Nico. He is still,
Judgy.
he is still in a rough spot here. Draw.
Oh, there it
now
is. Turn too late.
A little late.
What? Okay, he's going to try to become Drago.
He can't afford to cast that and get it mana leaked and
Yeah.
then have nothing. His opponent also is somewhat stalled on land. So, was that an island he drew? It looked like one. So now,
I would say cast the Delver there.
Yeah, you have to cast it there. I don't agree with that play at all. Especially given that you know.
And
your
now you want to counter that alchemy just because you don't want him to get to mana.
Yep.
And there was a leak in his hand, I think, so but he negated it. I don't know about that either. Is there a leak in Nico's hand? Maybe I'm wrong.
We might have a game now. He may. Is he trying to get to 4 mana so he can cast it and pay for leak?
Okay, he brought in the Metamorph, which I would not have suggested, but you know,
Is interesting.
it can copy a Titan or a Sphinx.
So that's probably gonna get Black Sun Zenith.
Oh, he says
Really?
go. Let's see what it does. Does it flip? Nope.
I can't imagine not killing that.
He's got a Psychic Barrier. Looks like 2 Vapor Snares or Snags in hand. Stephen O'Mahony Schwartz, when he was playtesting Curious George this season, played with Proxy Vapor Snare because I sent him the list with as Vapor Snare. And
This card seems real bad in here. It costs a lot of mana.
he's like, but when I cast it, it was great. And I'm like, what?
That's pretty funny.
Oh, he forgot to reveal there, and that was an instant.
Was it?
Yes.
What did he draw?
It looked to
I
me...
thought he drew Curiosity.
Oh, did he? I thought I
Yeah.
saw Psychic
I
Barrier.
definitely see a Curiosity right there. So
Now, Nico should have cast the Curiosity. Like,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely should have cast the Curiosity. What you can do there is, if you're going to fight against the 2-for-1, but, like, if he doesn't 2-for-1 you probably win the game straight up.
well, he knows that the opponent has Black Sun Zenith in his hand. So if he has, and he also knows he has Mana Leak in his hand. So, yeah, I think now I think he's going for the
BSC, and we're going to see either a Vapor Snag.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a snag here.
Kind of a counterspell.
We will
I always want to
trade this card with this one.
I always want to call it Vapor Snare.
So I guess I was just thinking that Nico would likely have boarded out a bunch of his snags, but he seems to have quite a few of them still in his deck.
No. Says go. Nico draws.
And
Island.
So that Delver's going to come
go
back
down
now.
Delver. Or is this going to be... and there's the Delver. Delver, attempt number 3 for Delver to do the job.
Still the same Delver.
One Delver goes a long way. Mana Leak in Dylan's hand. Karn in Dylan's hand. I don't know if we know anything else at this point.
Yeah, 3 mana.
3 mana. Is that going to be a BSZ?
Perhaps
Black Sun's Zenith.
Perhaps a Liliana. There it is, Liliana. That is pretty bad for Nico.
That's devastating.
Nico has a
Snapcaster is effective,
who can,
but it's not going to resolve.
Right. He's in a bad spot now.
So, and I think Nico's going to turn that edict in. If it is an edict, I think he's going to turn it into a Vapor Snag. It's still 1 card up for Dylan, but. Waiting to see what happens. Liliana resolves. And Nico does not use the Vapor Snag to protect the Delver, which I think would have been a decent play.
Well, I mean, in that situation, he snags, then replays Delver.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Because then Lily is at 1.
I mean, I guess it's pretty similar to, using it on just removal in general, because Liliana's only at 1. And I don't think he wants to cast Snapcaster here.
No, I don't think he does either.
So yeah, I think I agree with you. I think I would have used the Vapor Snag to try to protect the Delver.
I think he's going to cast the Snappy at the end of the turn, maybe.
It looks like it.
He's got that look.
He's certainly telegraphing the fact that he has Snapcaster. Makes
yeah.
sense. That's one thing that a lot of players don't really pay enough attention to is the information that they give their opponents just based on the pace at which they're playing the game at various points. For instance, if I were Nico, I would have done all that thinking in response to the Liliana, and figured out, okay, well, if Liliana's going to resolve, am I going to play Snapcaster now and not wait until the end of the turn, which clearly gives away the information that you have that Snapcaster. It's sort of like when you're looking at your opening hand, debating what you're going to do, what land you're going to play, what you're going to play, rather than play your land then think.
Yep.
It's just like, oh, you're clearly thinking about what you're going to do.
And a turn, nothing. So we got the Liliana at 2, discarding a Forbidden Alchemy and a Vapor Snare or Snag, respectively.
Yeah, that Vapor Snag could have protected that Delver last turn, which would have at least threatened Liliana.
And now Liliana's at 2, which is a big deal.
Liliana, yeah, and we'll be going to 3.
Perhaps. I mean, does he have a crap card? He does have a crap card, so yeah, it'll be going to 3.
I mean, even if you don't have a quote unquote bad card, a lot of times you just want to be activating Liliana just to protect it from damage from your opponent, as well as threaten ultimate. Even if you're discarding good cards, as long as your opponent isn't also getting some sort of value from Liliana. If you're playing Liliana against, say, Solar Flare, you don't want to be randomly activating it just to make them discard, because often discarding can be advantageous for them.
And Dylan's trying to decide if he wants to activate Liliana. He asks Nico how many cards that he has.
This is why you need Proliferate.
It looks like he did not discard.
Oh, no. Interesting.
What do we have there?
Is he another Alchemy?
Yep. Well, just the one in the yard. And in response, we see the Snappy getting negate, perhaps, and then negating.
Yep.
Snappy here is a dead man walking.
Well, but if Dylan does edict him, he loses his Liliana because he didn't +1 last turn.
That's true.
Which is this is precisely why
exactly
I was talking about wanting to boost your Liliana, even if it means you have to discard a quality card. you lose the threat of your Liliana being in play, which is threatening to dominate all of the creatures your opponent ever plays.
And now we did it go up to 3? Yep, it upped to 3. Nico discarded another snag. Or no, pardon me. Discards a Snapcaster. Oh my gosh. What do we see here?
Karn.
7 mana for a Karn. No responses, I don't think. Okay, game.
Well, there's a Karn in play. Have you ever lost when you've cast a Karn?
Yes. When I was already...
What percentage of time did you say you've lost when you've cast a Karn?
Well, it depends. If you're casting a Karn in desperation in a terrible board state, a fair amount.
Sure.
If you're not desperate, very, very few.
Yeah. If you lose when you cast Karn, try harder next time. You probably should have done something in the beginning.
Oh, boy.
He's just going to get Liliana Karn. He's actually double Disrupting Scepter every turn with a bunch of counterspells in his hand.
Bye-bye, Nico. Bye-bye, Nico.
This game was looking bad, but now it's just over.
Yeah, it looks really bad now. And Karn says, lose a card. What do you want to lose? No, it doesn't go face down. There you go. There you go.
Ooh, can you Curiosity or Snapcaster?
Yes.
Can you restart that's awesome.
You can.
I want to restart the game with a Curious Snapcaster. You get to attack turn 1,
Yes,
too.
you get to attack right away. Dylan then discards and then lays a Consecrated Sphinx. And I believe we're going to see a Phyrexian Metamorph come down that will briefly make the board explode if it resolves. Or the hands explode, I should say.
It could. Was that a Disperse in Nico's hand?
Yes, it is.
That's interesting. I guess he must have just drawn that.
Wow. Okay, untap, upkeep. Okay, draw?
Are you going to kill this during his upkeep, or...
What's he got?
Is he trying to, flashback at Think Twice during his upkeep to, not...
I don't know what he's thinking
This is
about.
not going to work how you think it's going to work. If that's what you're trying to do.
This is actually a really exciting turn.
It is kind of cool. I mean, I think
He draws 1. Nico draws 2.
I think there's no reason to continue to draw.
No, Nico, don't do anything. Let the cards draw and see what Dylan does.
Yeah. Don't draw. If I were Dylan, I would not draw.
Yeah, Dylan would be correct in not drawing.
Because he's so far ahead that the only thing that can happen here is... Alright, so that's back in his hand. Now he just recasts it. So now you just recast Karn, hit your hand, edict your guy, hit you with Sphinx.
Yeah.
I mean, this still is not a position
Still
that Nico
terrible.
can realistically win from.
Yeah, it's a terrible position. Does he have another Vapor in his hand?
No, that's a Ponder and a Snapcaster
Okay.
mage. Is he going up on that? What is he doing?
I think he's going to
I guess he wants to-
Karn the
guess.
Metamorph.
Yeah, okay. I guess that's fine. You get your Liliana to potentially ultimate sooner.
Oh, Nico. In for 4.
And now you get to... This is a board position that... Look at that. There's three virtually unbeatable cards at this point in the game, all on one side of the table.
And Nico, who has a Ponder here, pondering into a Sphinx is not fun.
Yeah. It's like Gitaxian Probe. What you got? Oh, you got more than you had before.
And Nico, I would tell you to pack it up if I could yell across the room to you.
Someone actually said that Karn actually says non-aura permanent on it.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, he does not bring in auras.
Snappy at the end of the turn. Maybe during upkeep, actually? There is a Vapor Snag in there. As awesome as that Vapor, or as that Snappy is, I don't think it's awesome enough. Just too much going on that he has to deal with.
Snapcaster Mage is a very good card, but every card Dylan has is a very good card. So he's snapping Vapor Snag, casting Vapor Snag. That's fine. That resolves.
I like the guts that this kid has.
Now he's just casting Sphinx again.
It's all over but the crying. Sorry, Nico. Nico untaps, draws.
Draw.
Double for the Sphinx.
He did not draw Obliterate.
Obliterate would have been pretty... wait, he'd get kicked out of the tournament, wouldn't he?
Well, it also doesn't kill the Planeswalkers. Wait, Apocalypse. Apocalypse removes all permanents from the game?
I think Apocalypse would do it. He doesn't have a hand, so what does it matter?
Yeah. Or any red sources. So you need to draw Lotus and Apocalypse this turn. And then he would at least not get, at least not lose. He'd get DQ'd.
Poor Nico.
For drawing multiple cards and cards that aren't legal.
And Dylan discards to go up to 7 on Liliana. Nico, nothing left. Double Sphinx. Says go.
This is what's called the rub-ins.
Okay.
What
do you got? What do you got? You got a good one? Oh, he's going to cast it, whatever it is.
Spend 3
I think it's
blue,
going to be a sword.
And it will deal 17 to you. And it's uncounterable.
Sword.
There it is. There's a sword.
How did I know he had a sword?
He touched 3 mana.
Exactly. The thing about what you...
All right, so Dylan Buff wins the match 2-0.
An easy 2-0 for him.
Taking down Nico Dragomanovits.
I think you did it better than I've done it, and I've known him for years. Nico, a store manager for the store that Sam Black used to co-own.
Okay.